Hi class, this is part 2 of our week 4 presentations. This next round of slides is going to talk about how you organize your speech. I'm going to talk about the body first because you really should organize the body of your speech before the introduction and conclusion. So we'll talk about the body of your speech, and then we'll talk about ways to get our attention and close the final product. So, in any speech, the strategy you use to order your main points can make or break your argument. The strategy you use can assist or hinder your audience's learning about or appreciating a person, animal, place, event, object, concept, issue, or process. When you select a strategy, you will consider which one works best with your general purpose, the topic, and your audience. So what I'm going to talk about are ways to organize. This is just the body of your speech. So the first one, chronological order. This is when you need to move through steps in a process or develop a timeline. Chronological order works really well with demonstration speeches, with introductory speeches, speeches about people, places, or events. Steps in a process, a little bit different, might work like this. So step 1, you're preparing the piece for refinishing by cleaning and sanding the existing finish, applying a primer. Step 2. Step 3, apply a coat of paint and let it dry. Step 4, sand the finish again. So this is a process. You're telling us how to do something. Look at the specific purpose on top. You always want to know what your specific purpose is first, and then you can go through the steps. So again, it's chronological, right? But it's a process of how to do something. Here's another timeline example. Creating a timeline might work like this. So this specific purpose here, to inform the audience about the Space Shuttle program. And then they're doing it chronologically. So again, these are different examples of how to use chronological order for demonstration speeches or informative speeches in general. The next is topical order, also called categorical. This is when there is a strong inherent or traditional division of subtopics within the main topic itself. Main points can go in any order when it's topical, and this organizational style allows the most freedom. So, think about this. Can you think of an example that would use topical strategy? A lot of different speeches can. So topical might work like this. So the specific purpose here, to inform an audience on the global seed vault. You're going to talk about first the mission, then the location, then the seed types. Next is spatial. Spatial recognizes space as a way to arrange the speech. Often it's used for descriptions of places, directions on how to get somewhere. So here's a spatial example to inform my audience about must-sees at the Louvre. They're starting at the ground floor, and then they move up to the first floor, and then they move up to the second floor. So as you see, spatial, it goes from one area to the next. Causal is when you want your audience to understand the cause and effect or consequence of something. This is typically used in persuasive speeches. So here's a causal example to inform my audience about the causes of the childhood obesity epidemic. And then they talk about first the causes: physical inactivity, poor eating habits, parental influences, advertising. Of course, then after that, what would you do? Then you would have to talk about the effects. That's your persuasive argument. The next one, comparative. This is compare and contrast. So with informative speaking, you compare your topic to something the audience already understands, especially if you have a technical, complicated topic. So with persuasive speaking, it shows how one thing is better than the other. So here's a comparative example. Convince the audience to drink French press coffee. And then you talk about the benefits compared to another type of coffee. Finally, problem solution. These are really only used for persuasive speeches. So first, since problem solution shows your audience how to solve a problem, this arrangement is perfectly suited for persuasive speaking. And remember, some problem solution speeches may need more than 2 points. So here's an example of problem solution. Convince my audience to shop at small businesses. The problem, mom and pop shops are closing. The solution, do most of your shopping at independently owned retailers. The next one, Monroe's motivated sequence. This is a more detailed problem and solution strategy based on what motives the audience needs to act and is often used in advertising. Remember, we talked about motives in the last presentation for week 4. So this is the step. I like Monroe's motivated sequence because it really does outline, it goes through your entire outline of what we talked about in the last presentation. So introduction, you grab our attention. Then the first main point, you show the need, establish a need that they have or a problem that they need to solve. Then the second main point, you propose the solution and support it as the best option. You show the satisfaction. Third main point, you visualize, you illustrate how the solution would satisfy their need. And then the conclusion is a call to action. Call your audience to action or tell them what they must do to achieve the solution suggested. So the next, then, we're going to talk about how you make a speech out of a strategy. So first, you're going to select a strategy. What organizational strategies can you use in your speech? When you select a strategy, you will consider which one works best for your general purpose, your topic, and your audience. There are often different strategies that will work for the same topic. So questions to ask. Will the strategy work with your general purpose? Does your topic suggest a strategy? What goals are for your audience? Do they need to understand an element before moving on to the next? Sometimes you are not ready to choose a strategy until you discover your main points. So good things to do. You can make a list of what you want to express in your speech. Return to your specific purpose to make sure you are staying true to your goal. Group these notes under common themes. And then select 2 to 5 important themes as your main points. Then you want to create your main points. And remember, for your outline when you're grading, use complete sentences. This helps you think in complete thoughts when you give the speech. Use only one idea in each main point. Avoid words such as and or but. Simply state a fact or argument, and do not ask your audience to take action. Use coordination. They should relate to the specific purpose and be balanced and equal to other main points. And also, parallelism is key. Arrange your words, phrases, or sentences in a similar pattern. This will help your main points stand out. So here's just an example of subordinates elaborate on each of the main points. So this is what your outline should look like once you're putting all of your main points and subpoints together. So here's some common organization problems. They include the strategy does not fit the topic or audience. The speaker abandons his or her strategy mid-speech. I've seen that. You usually go over time then because you're disorganized. There are too many main points, or there's not enough time for the body of the speech. Also, the speaker is spending too much time on 1 or 2 main points that they cannot cover the rest efficiently. Remember, you will lose points if you go over time. So to prevent or solve this, consider what your audience needs and what is dictated by the general purpose, specific purpose, and central idea. All right, so after you're done with this, then you can focus on what the introduction, how you are going to use the introduction. You have to get your audience's attention before you do anything in your speech. You also have to build your credibility early. If we don't think you're credible, we're not going to listen. The audience needs to perceive you as a kind of competent, caring, honest, and excited speaker about your topic. So be confident. Practice your introduction until you're sure you have it. Demonstrate your topic knowledge. Point out what you, your topic, and your audience have in common. And then be sincere and concerned about your speeches and your audience's well-being. The audience must believe that they can benefit from your speech, or else they won't listen. So, preview of what they can expect from your speech. Remember, it's just like a thesis statement, right? You're telling us exactly what we will expect to get out of your speech. All right, so what are some effective attention getters? Remember, you don't want to start off your speech with, "Today I will be talking about." That's boring and we won't listen. An attention getter is something you say, show, or do to get your audience to focus on you, the topic, and goals of your speech. So the first is shock value. Facts and statistics can show the magnitude of something surprising, and you can engage your audience to know more about it. Narratives, vivid accounts that are entertaining. It shows that it will be emotional. It personalizes your speech. Quotations are also great. Quotations are words or passages written or said by someone else. Humor can build a positive relationship with your topic. Just remember, though, humor is tough. If you're not funny, I would not use humor. I think questions are some of the best ways to grab our attention. Response evoking questions, they elicit a response. Since you don't have an audience, though, you will ask rhetorical questions. They require no response, but they encourage your audience to think. References are also very good at helping us think about what you want us to do. So then how do you organize the introduction? Well, I really spoke about all this. I'm going to go through it quickly. That you have the attention getter, then the credibility material, relevance to the audience, why is it important, and then your thesis statement. You preview the main speech. Then, after that, you want to connect your conclusion. So the first thing you want to do, let us know that you're ending. Signal the ending of your speech. You can let us know by your voice slowing down. Maybe move around a little bit, even though you are using a video. You should tell your audience, in conclusion, in summary. So then you want to summarize a final chance to help your audience remember your main topic. Effectively and concisely restate your points. The audience should not leave without knowing what they should do. Tell them what they should have learned. And create a final impact. You should leave your audience with an intense feeling. Consider that you want them to, think of ways to get them there. This is your last chance. So how do you create a wow statement? That's probably some of the hardest parts. Well, same as the introduction. These devices on the screen will help make your topic relatable and can appeal one last time to your audience's emotions. Just like the beginning, you can use a quotation at the end. Make a direct relation to your topic, maybe somewhat a metaphorical way of capturing your audience. Humor, again, humor is great. Just remember, humor is tough. Test the material, avoid demeaning humor, and ensure that your audience has an understanding of the type of humor. Rhetorical questions are also great. They are useful in getting your audience to think more about the topic even after you're done. You can also tell your audience what you want them to do with the information. You can give them and make sure it is something they can do. And one of the most important things you should do in your conclusion, reference back to the introduction. This closes everything out. Finish with a story, a poem, something that creates a nice frame for your speech. So quickly, I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can organize your your conclusion. Your conclusion should be a short reminder of what was said in the speech, along with a wow statement. Ended on a closing note. All right, so hopefully now, after these two presentations, you have your outline done. You've created the body of your speech. You've chosen what organizational pattern to use for your body. You've garnered attention getters in your introduction. You have your thesis statement, your central idea, your credibility, and you wrap everything up with the conclusion. Now you should be able to fully prepare a longer speech using the information provided.